Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gamers Lounge podcast. My name is John Meadows. With me as always is Eric, Nathaniel, and Dennis. What's going on, guys?
Hello, hello.
Man,
not too much.
This is what, the third week in a row, I guess?
Yeah.
3 weeks in a row?
Third week in a row. Yep.
We're setting a record.
It's been a while since we've done 3 weeks of shows in a row. There's usually not that much to talk about.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that's what happens when E3 comes back, even in a digital capacity.
It's always like that summer season, and then what's after this? What comes out in like another month or so? Isn't it Gamescom or something like that? Is that the next one?
Gamescom's usually August, I think. There's
August?
something in July, though. I think
Is
EA
it
does
Tokyo?
something in July.
No.
It's not PAX, is it? Do we like PAX?
No, PAX is usually in the fall, isn't it?
Yeah, PAX is at the end of August, early.
When's Tokyo Game Show? Why does that one keep sticking in my
Oh,
throat?
that would make sense.
That one's probably like, I don't know, October, just to throw us off. I don't remember what it is.
I don't
What's time
either.
difference? Is it?
September 30th.
Okay, so that's
yeah,
after Gamescom then.
Yeah, it's way after that. So I don't know why.
Has Sony said if they're doing any like state of plays this summer or anything else?
I haven't heard of any state of plays.
I mean, what was the last one?
Man-
Just the Ratchet and Clank one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. Or was it the Horizon one?
The
No,
Horizon,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't remember. I
Oh,
didn't
was that was after?
Yeah, that was after, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Speaking since we're on the topic of Sony, kind of passing by. I don't know if you guys heard, but like apparently Walmart, everyone that like got the digital PS5s, they apparently gave everybody like free upgrades for like the most recent allotment that they got, like over to the disc version. Like, can you imagine just like getting the digital one, save yourself $100 now? You can opt for physical copies as well.
I would say that there's two reasons for that. Well, there's probably one reason for that. They probably didn't get enough digitals to cover their orders. And they didn't want to delay them anymore. And it was easier for them just to take a hit than it was to take a bunch of cancellations.
But that seems like they did that right near launch too, as well, if I remember right.
I don't remember. I think
maybe not them, but somebody did.
I think some of them just got disc versions. But I want to know how many people are going to be upset because they didn't want the disc or the disc version because they didn't like the way the disc version looked.
Who cares? You saved like $100, then sell it and get it one later. Like whatever. The only difference is it has a disc drive. So if you want that digital one that badly, you can keep trying to get one and then sell the disc base. Disc version.
It's not like the difference between the X and the S, where like those are like clear differences, and like not only in terms of like how they look, but the innards of them as well. But literally, the difference between the digital and the physical PS5 is literally just the lack of a disc drive. That is it. They're identical.
Yeah.
In every way.
There's some other components that's not in there, but it's just like it's just like power from the South Bridge and stuff like that. That they took off. I mean, it's not really that big, but I know a lot of people, a lot of Sony guys that bought the digital only. They just didn't like the hump that was the disc drive on the.
That's kind of how it is. I mean, at the moment, I feel like the digital looks a lot more uniform. I mean, it's still way too big. I don't want that, dish satellite in my house, but I do, like the more uniform sort of look that it has, though.
I like the black.
I'd be willing to. Oh, you said you like the black stuff that you've done to yours?
Yeah, because then it doesn't look like a satellite dish sitting in the house.
I don't know. I still like the white version, but it is gigantic.
Yeah,
I'll be interested to see how small they'll actually go with it once they do the inevitable slim version.
They're already going back to the drawing board, apparently, so they're going to release that slim sometime soon. So maybe next year.
You can't get the regular version, so I think that any slim versions are going to be pushed back a bit. or
think
it'll
so,
just
too.
be suddenly, hey, this is the version that we have. So maybe it won't technically delay it.
Yeah.
It just depends, I guess, on all the manufacturing stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Like, I know
they did talk about that they were making the chip a smaller chip so they could produce them faster, but they weren't changing the console at all. They were just putting the smaller chip in it. That was the only difference. So
That's the other thing, though. Like with Xbox, I don't think we're gonna get a slim version, or if we do, it's way in the future because it's so just like jam packed in there already. That
well,
how
not to
you shave
mention,
it,
yeah,
you can't.
I don't know how they would make it smaller at this point.
It'd be a completely different design.
Yeah.
Like they'd have to do something different.
I mean, especially with how small this already is too. I mean, like the only way you'd make it smaller at that point, it'd probably be the size of like maybe a Wii. You know, if you're going crazy, but other than that, it's already like super small. You already have your slim version right there.
My question is I wonder if we'll have like with how hard it is to get the systems right now. I wonder if they'll even do like a mid-gen console refresh like they did
because of the chip shortage
last year. Yeah, with Leo making a pro version like they did. I don't
doubt it.
I don't think they will either. That's
if they do, it'll just be this generation gets extended out like a year or two longer than it would have had if we hadn't had these shortages, and then maybe they might do it closer, to like 4 or 5 years in. Who knows? But
that's my feeling.
That's just us guessing.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel about it too. I don't think they're going to do one, and even if they do, unless it's magically leaps and bounds over what they have now, I probably wouldn't buy one. So, especially the Xbox, because I mean, it's already. I don't know what else they could put in there. more hard drive space. That'd be about it. That's all I can think of at this point. But who knows? But anyway. What we're going to do today is just go ahead and finish wrapping up talking about what E3 stuff we missed. Since last Sunday we talked about everything that was up till last Sunday. We're going to start with Nintendo. And some of the things that Nintendo showed. They showed a teaser trailer for Breath of the Wild.
The very, very end, after being like, hey, here's a Zelda thing, here's a different Zelda thing, here's another Zelda thing. Hey, look, let me pull this Zelda thing out of my pocket that's still not the Zelda thing that you want.
Yeah, the Zelda thing that you're expecting me to put out.
It's like, sure, that's a cool Game & Watch, but it's still a Game & Watch.
And I will that one I might get. I didn't get the Mario Game & Watch, but everything that's on that Zelda Game & Watch, I would probably for $50 probably pick up.
Yep, and there'll be plenty in stock. I mean, I'm not too worried about that.
If you were to just officially, if you were to buy those games
right now and buy the Mario one, and it's been taken off the shelf.
I was going to say, I see them on the shelves like still like it's nothing. They didn't sell out. I think like a normal Nintendo product you think would have.
No.
But if you're about to buy those just digital versions of those games, you'd be spending almost $50 probably anyway.
Yeah.
So might as well get them in a cool little package.
Yep.
Aren't literally all of those also like included with Nintendo Switch Online? Like when the
I think so. I think so. I don't remember. I don't have online anymore, so it's been so long since I've actually looked in there. I don't remember what it has or doesn't.
I don't remember either. And I have online, and I don't remember.
Plus, you never know. I could just yoink it out of there. You never know.
So I'm when it comes to Switch stuff, I'm like big on like or just because the UI is so minimal, I'm big on the art. So if the art is ugly, I get so tempted to delete it just because like it sticks out like a sore thumb, and like that's the case with the NES and Super Nintendo little like cover arts on the home screen where it's just like they don't look good. It's just literally just the controller and they're just this big red blotch, and I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yep.
I'm good.
Yeah,
Make your thumbnails pretty, people. Come on.
I tell you,
that's all I'm asking for.
I haven't booted up my main Switch, the big Switch that I have hooked up down here in forever until I got that fixture S1 grip thing in the mail yesterday or the day before yesterday. So then it was like, all right, now I'm going to fire this thing up. Man, I had so many updates. And and I don't know why it didn't update on its own. Maybe I had it turned off and I didn't realize it was turned off.
The auto update is weird on the Switch. Like it's very hit or miss. I've noticed.
So I had to plug it up to the charger and let it set all night last night just to update everything, so I could actually try to play with that controller thing today. But that may be my new way to play handheld. That thing is flipping awesome. So
I saw you post a picture of it. It looked cool.
I'm gonna have to find that tweet.
It's
I have
$30 on Amazon, $50 with the case on Amazon. So.
Yeah, I used to be. I have the Razer Kishi now, but before that, I had a little clip that was the same thing, and then you connect the Xbox controller to it, and then put your phone on the top portion. So it looked identical, but yeah, no, I enjoy playing that way. It feels good.
Yeah, this one's cool because you would think it weighed like a ton with the full screen and the Pro controller underneath there, but it really doesn't. It's really balanced. But we can talk more about that next time because I'll have some game time in on that one. So what do we think? The trailer Breath of the Wild looked cool. Didn't show a whole lot, but I mean it looked cool.
Yeah, it kind of teased a couple cool new abilities.
It started out like Skyward Sword. I thought that was kind of funny with him flying through the clouds,
dropping in from the sky.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Especially since they just showed the Skyward Sword, again of just like, oh, it's coming, and then like you just start with a shot of Link falling through the sky. It's just like, all right, sure.
Y'all don't like
Did you play the right trailer?
Yeah. Y'all don't like Skyward Sword? Were you going to do the same thing in Breath of the Wild?
Oh gosh, if they added the controls like they had there, it'd be like a riot. Like, no.
Oh gosh, yeah.
No.
Right.
Big mistake.
So they're saying 2022. We'll see. I mean, if things
they said that they're aiming for a 2022, which means maybe it'll get pushed back to 2023. Because yeah.
So our theory.
It looked.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say it looked fine. I mean, it was more Breath of the Wild. But one thing I did notice right away was that it looks like Link has like really long hair now.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many years into the future they said this one was, but
no. Here's the thing: he just took his hair down. That's what it is. He had it all pinned up in Breath of the Wild. Now he's like, screw this, I gotta let it fly free.
I can see that.
That's how you know he's just done with everything. He's just like, ponytail's coming off. I'm serious this time, Ganon.
We're not playing around. The hair's coming down.
It's like whenever Clark Kent, he takes off those glasses, it's serious.
Yeah.
The moment he takes off the glasses, opens up the shirt, big ass. That's how you know.
Yep.
Watch out for that letter S. But I think one of the most unfortunate parts is, even though it looked great to me from the little that we saw, and I'm super stoked for it, but people have been clamoring now for a while because I think now it is time that if we could just get, especially with how she is in Breath of the Wild and just how she carries herself, like if we could just get like a playable Zelda to some degree that isn't Hyrule Warriors, something that's a little more mainline, I think that'd be much appreciated. So, and it seemed like this one was like, okay, I guess we're just going to be Link again, which, I mean,
well, and
it's fine. That's kind of what all the games have been centered around.
Yeah. Unless they're trying to be secretive about it.
True.
But I don't know that
the
Nintendo
teaser
would
that
do
we
that.
saw, because this teaser that we saw like 3 years ago where they showed like 30 seconds of footage, like she was with him, walking through the caves or whatever. So,
but that means
maybe
zero.
She's more of a companion this time, or
because she was in the original trailers, because
Yeah.
it was a lot of the cutscene stuff. It looked like she was going to be part of it, and then that was a very small part of Breath of the Wild. So who knows?
Yeah. But she didn't seem as, I don't know, I guess the sort of demeanor from from just the tiny bit that we've seen of her just seems different this time, where she seems more sort of warrior-esque, for a lack of a better word, this time around, versus before where she was still kind of like a damsel in distress, So.
What if they did a God of War but where you could swap characters or something? Because that would be really cool. If you could play as Link or Zelda, but they're always like the AI takes over whenever you're not playing one.
That'd be great, actually.
You want a co-op too, or just use?
I mean, if Nintendo wanted to do that, I'm not sure that that's something Nintendo would necessarily do. They might, who knows? Yeah, sure, that'd be cool too. Do all of that, please.
Yeah, do it all. I'm with you there. Sure, absolutely. Do I want that? Sure. I mean,
it's not the first time they've done, co-op Zelda. They've done it before, so a couple times. So it's not like they don't know how to. So
but they need to do it where you can be either or, so that you're not just stuck in co-op if you have no one to play with, and you can still have a good, gameplay experience if you're just, a lonely person who can only play Zelda by themselves.
or like me that played Sea of Thieves by himself for the other night.
How it's meant to be played. Wait, no.
No, it was not, because the first 5 seconds it was like, oh, I'm at the place. Oh, I need to stop. Oh, I need to stop. Let me take hold of the wheel. Let me turn this real quick. Oh my god, no, I cannot. It was like,
Oh, here's what you do.
It's difficult
Crash
navigating
it.
the ship.
yeah, it
So-
really was. It was really hard to navigate.
I used to play a lot in vanilla alone though, so I just kind of relied on like hopefully I would like meet up with random people that didn't want to like kill me right away. You know,
Yeah,
so and
I
thankfully
I didn't see
You
a
find him
soul the whole time, so it was perfect. Now I don't know if maybe it kicked me out because of that, or it knew. I don't know. But anyway, see, and we're getting away from what we were going to
Yeah.
talk about.
What do you guys think of how they opened the direct with more Smash Bros?
So that made me laugh. So here's the thing: I had tweeted I had tweeted like, "Oh, looks like Kazuya is coming to Smash. This is great because the Nintendo Switch clearly has a massive Tekken fan base with all the games being available."
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So if you go to the eShop and type in Tekken, you will find approximately 0 games. So as well as the Wii U, I think on the Wii U they had Street Fighter X Tekken, but other than that,
I mean, to be fair, there's lots of characters in Smash at this point that you might be difficult to find the games that they come from on
Yeah.
Switch. But yeah, I
But
just
at some
like
point,
the trailer is funny. He's just taking let's just dump everybody into a volcano. It's great.
Yeah.
I don't care about the
Classic
game so
scene
much.
from
Just the trailer
the
was
original
funny.
Tekken, I believe. But yeah, with Kirby
Yeah.
was amazing though.
Yeah,
What
that
he did
Kirby
with
was
great.
hilarious though. It was very cool.
Well, as soon as he's taking Kirby to the edge, I'm like, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
I play Kirby. I know he flies. You're an idiot.
Uh,
He's gonna come up behind you. I wanted Kirby instead of just flying up to like suck him up, but he didn't. He just
yeah,
went-
that's
and
what
then
I was
just, like,
hoping.
bring him down
That's
with him.
exactly what I was
See,
hoping.
that's the most important part about any new character that comes to Smash is what does the Kirby version look like?
Yeah.
He's gonna have that ridiculous hair. You know he's gonna have that hair. He's got
Yes.
like,
And it's gonna be awesome. Forget like showing the characters. I want to see what the Kirby version looks like. That's the important part.
Yeah. exactly.
Sure.
So yeah, it's like surprise, shocking. Another character on Smash Brothers.
yeah. I mean, look, I'm a big Smash Brothers guy, but this was probably like the one character, even though it's awesome and I love like Kazuya, but like it's one of probably the first character in a long time where when I saw it, I was like, okay. Just because like there was like no representation at all, and it's like like when Ryu showed up in Smash, that was awesome, because obviously Street Fighter's had a legacy on Nintendo, and there's a couple of Street Fighter games on the Switch, but like this was literally the first one in a long time where I've been like what are you doing here, dude? You're awesome.
I mean,
Quick,
at this
we
point,
need
though,
a Smash character. Who can we get?
yeah. Well, like some of the ones that would be cool would be ones that they'll never ever get in a million years, or it's like very, very like slim. So like Banjo Kazooie was like one of those. It's like everybody's like, "Whoa, weird!" But what if you did like Ratchet or Clank or something? They would fit in Smash, but they're never going to be in Smash.
Wild, but I think
Kratos.
Any main Sony character is never going to go in there, but it would be cool. Like
it would be cool, but I think Sony, for a fact that they would much rather try another attempt at doing another All-Stars before,
Okay, here's Sony. Here's what you do: secretly hire the Smash people to make it for you on the slide.
Sakurai, just hire Sakurai.
Right. And don't ever mention him. Don't give him credit for it. Don't ever say anything about it. Just say, "Look, we made this awesome game. It looks like Smash." Exactly.
Or just chain him to the same desk with that same laptop and just swap the controllers out for PlayStation controllers, and then he's set. Right? That's how it works.
Sure.
He's always at that same desk, just like, I'm tired, guys. I never stop working.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like every time.
I love him to death, but I feel so bad for him. Like that dude, I can't wait until he's done so he can finally get the much deserved vacation.
Yeah, take a nap.
He needs.
I mean, he's been done a few times at this point, and they keep roping him back.
Get that man a sandwich and then let him go to bed. I mean, geez.
Yeah,
he's
got a sleeping bag under that desk.
He always just looks so tired. It's just like, oh my gosh, man. I feel sorry for you. Metroid Dread was announced. It wasn't Metroid 4. Technically, this is the first.
It's Metroid 5.
It's Metroid 5. So it's the first new mainline Metroid game in almost 20 years.
Because no one cares about Other M, as they shouldn't.
Right. 2D. It will be out in October. It'll have 3D graphics from a 2D perspective, and it really it really.
Did you guys actually watch any of the Treehouse or
No,
like they put
I
them on
didn't
the
get a chance
Nintendo
to see
channel
any
after
of the
that?
Treehouse.
I watched
So
bits
this
and
is
pieces.
actually the same thing as the GBA Advance version of Dread that they tried way back when and
Yeah.
shelved it because they didn't have the technology, and then they tried to bring it back again at some point, and then they shelved it, and then now they've done it again with like the concept for Dread. So it's still got some of that DNA in there from whenever, because they announced Metroid Dread a long time ago, whatever version it was
Right.
way back then. So everybody was freaking out when this one came. Like, wait, is it the same thing? It is. Holy crap! This
Oh
is
my
insane.
gosh.
It looks good though too.
Yeah.
Some stuff they actually showed after the direct, just showing it and talking about it in a little bit more detail. I'm like, yes, please, I will take that.
Yeah,
That looks awesome.
I definitely want it.
It looks great.
I so wanted to reach through Twitter at some people and punch them in the face because
In the
they
face.
they were absolutely going off on. I can't believe Nintendo would charge $60 for a 2D game that looks like it was made by an indie team by two people, and I went, have
doesn't.
you
What?
lost your mind? I'm like, okay, so now we've went from, now games have to be in 3D, they have to be in this, they have to be in that, they have to be in that to be considered a AAA $60 game. So now we have rules all of a sudden. It's like,
Yeah.
what do you?
Also, like Metroid has always been sort of a flagship title for
Yeah.
Nintendo. Did you really not expect that to be $60? Like, come
No.
on.
Yeah,
Like,
I
this
expect
isn't
it to be
Box Boy we're
$60,
talking about.
but I wish it was not, because we have so many great Metroidvania indie titles that have come out over the
Yeah.
years that
That is
none
true.
of them are that high. Like the
That is
40
true.
is probably the highest any of those been. And some of those are huge games too. Like Hollow Knight is an
Bloodstained, I
insanely
can't
huge
remember that.
game.
Granted, that one's more like,
Yeah.
Castlevania, but still, Bloodstained, I think probably in the
Right.
most recent years being arguably my most favorite of everything that's come out. So.
What was the one? Axiom Verge.
One man team.
So I think that's part of what they're running up against, is like just this style of game is not $60 very much at all, regardless of
No.
like quality or anything. But it's Nintendo; it's going to be decent quality.
Yeah.
I'll pay $60 for it. If you don't want to pay
Oh.
$60 for it, then don't.
Yeah.
Plus, you already know they're gonna have like awesome cutscenes, and then it's just
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
Samus. I love Samus, so I
Yeah.
mean that it's awesome to have her back. And
When they put Metroid 5 on the screen, I've listened to a lot of other podcasts, and everybody was going, "Wait a minute, where were the three other Metroids? The only Metroid I remember is Metroid on the NES and Metroid on the Super NES." I'm like, yeah, 2 was on the Game Boy. 3 was on Super NES. 4 was on the Game Boy Advance. Zero Mission was a remake of 1 on the Game Boy Advance. It was like, oh, well, I don't play handheld games. I don't consider them true consoles, so I don't know why you'd put a mainline game on a.
You
on a
play
handheld
Switch
console.
in handheld mode?
Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh! I'm like, what is going on this
really
week? I
like-
don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people gotta say
Everyone's
dumb
got an
things. It's the
opinion.
internet.
that's all. It is.
Everybody's got an opinion.
I really like the suit that she's in
Yeah.
this trailer with like the white and stuff on it. It's got a cool
Yeah.
look. It's still
Yeah,
Metroid,
sharp.
but it's sort of looking in a slightly different.
Yeah, well, she's got that like Zero
shinier
Mission
direction.
mixed up with like
Yeah.
a more
Yeah.
traditional
Mhm.
outfit. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like it a lot. That's probably.
but apparently that robot that's called the Emmy, which I'm like, no, guys, you could have come up with a better name. Emmy just doesn't sound like a scary robot name, even if it does stand for something.
Yeah.
But there's certain zones, and there's more than one of them, so like it evolves as the game goes and gets more and more abilities. So it's like the first few you encounter, you can get away from more easily because they can't like climb up somewhere, whatever it might be. And then eventually it keeps evolving, and maybe it's the same one just upgrading itself. I have no idea. They didn't say, but
One
there's
thing I'm really
certain
worried about-
zones where you go that it will be following you, and then if you can escape the zone, then you're got kind of more traditional Metroid play style until
Yeah,
you go back into one.
I mean, with that thing chasing you, it's like, wow, we're making like a Resident Evil Metroid.
I was gonna
game
say, it's
now
like a
all of
Resident Evil
sudden. Yeah. It's like, who knew?
I think the only thing I'm really like worried about with the Dread, I think honestly, is like, do I think it'll be worth the money? Yes. However, one thing I am worried about, like everything everyone's complaining about doesn't really like pertain to my one worry, which is Metroid games traditionally have been on the shorter side.
Mm.
So they can be beaten relatively quickly. So, you know, they can be long depending on if you're trying to 100% everything. But if you're really just trying to run through, over to those credits, I mean, you can easily beat it in like 3 hours.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
so
you
that's
could if you.
like the one where
I mean, maybe they'll have some stuff in there for like New Game Plus that'll change things up enough that'll make you want to play it again. Hopefully.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I mean,
could
Metroid
see that.
always
Or
has
it'll
a
be
ton of
bigger than
replay
we're
value,
assuming.
so-
You know,
Right.
one of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Who
both.
knows? Yeah. All I know
We'll
is
find out in October.
all I know is I think that's the Nintendo game that I'm buying day one.
I mean, it was the one thing from the entire direct that I was like, yes, this is for me. Most of the other stuff is like, it's not for me. You know, it looks fine for whoever wants it, but
Right.
I'm not going to be getting it. But yeah.
Well, like WarioWare. I know a lot of people, they announced the new WarioWare game. I know that is a very popular game. A lot of people liked it. It has a very good following on. It's not a game for me, but I appreciate it.
It looks like a good version of WarioWare.
Yeah, it looks like a great version of WarioWare. I'll, you know, anytime you can get Wario to stick his finger up his nose, we're good. You know, but yeah, I mean, it looks great. It's hilarious, and I know a lot of people who play co-op games. You know, especially families and friends that get together a lot. They'll absolutely love that game. Look great. The other game that I'm interested in is Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. I have to have that game day one because
that one looks really good.
I love Advance Wars on the GBA. In fact, if you probably, my GBA is actually sitting right here next to me. Oh, my cartridge isn't in it.
I've never played Advance Wars.
Advance Wars probably.
But I've played games that are inspired by it, and I've heard all like people who love it, but I've never played it, so I'm looking forward to those.
And I have one of the ones for DS. I've never played the one for DS.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have the ones on DS, but I didn't never play the original ones on GBA.
GBA version was always my favorite. So to see 1 and 2 redone, I mean, pretty much.
It looks good. I'm definitely for it. I think the one thing that people are kind of like torn between now is just because of the art style. But like, you know, I mean, obviously sprites have always kind of had their own certain charm. But I think it looks fine. I like
love
the
art style. I love it.
This art style is. I'm gonna go on a limb and say this is infinitely better than if they'd just done a port with the pixel art. Would have been
absolutely.
They would have had to have gone and completely redone it anyway to have the pixel art look good for like nowadays standards.
Yeah.
They would have had to spruce that up a lot. Now, like, they could have put in the effort and done both or whatever. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not an Advance Wars fan, so I'm like, I think this art style is awesome.
Yeah.
It looks nice.
I love
this. It has a lot of charm and personality to it that it's fine by me.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I think a lot of people were complaining about it. Maybe they just didn't like the look, or they were thinking it would be more like the original. I don't know. There's lots of complaining on social.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was perfect. I wouldn't have liked to seen it done any other way. I mean,
looks good enough.
Yeah, it looks great.
Be happy something is coming out.
Yeah, but at least
Nintendo
is
yeah, right.
Well, at least Nintendo is starting to use some of those IPs that they have not used in a long time, like Advance Wars, like WarioWare, like like Metroid. I mean, holy crap! I mean, they've
honestly,
they've had a
like
couple
now is
on
the time to use
3DS, but you know,
and now's the time to do it with how just how incredible Switch's success has been.
Yeah.
So
and I was thinking about
and then even with 3DS, because we did get 2 Metroid games. One of them we don't talk about, but the other one was a remake of the Samus Returns. That one was really good. But like 3DS made use of a lot of IP and even brought in some new ones as well. But the problem was with 3DS is it kind of had like a slow sort of ascent. Now at the end of its lifespan, it did end up selling well over 100 million, I think. No, maybe close to it, maybe 90 million, something like. But it was a lot. But obviously, with the Switch just skyrocketing year after year after year, they're like, look, now's the time because people will buy anything and everything at this point.
Metroid Dread is being made by Mercury Steam, who did Samus Returns.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god! Oh.
If you want
that even makes it better.
That's a chef's kiss.
You just made it 10 times better. And I didn't think you could do that.
So some of like her abilities in that game, they're bringing sort of back into this one with some tweaks and changes and stuff from what they were saying on the stream.
See that Mercury Steam? That's the seasoning. That's the exact seasoning that you need to make this just like perfectly sauteed. Beautiful.
finish cooking that, flip it over, and give it to me in October.
Yeah, put on a plate,
Put
give
it
it to me,
on
and
a
I'll
plate,
just eat it
give
all
it
up.
to me in October, and I'll be
That's
fine.
right.
Yeah. Put a little butter on the side, maybe. It's
It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Just don't lick the cartridge.
Yeah, well, no,
No,
because
God, no.
it does
No,
not taste
Jesus,
good.
stay-
They'll tell
yeah.
you. They'll
And if you want the, what I
Quick
was
this
gonna say, if you want the collector's edition, keep an eye on social media, like on Wario64 and stuff like that.
That
because
steelbook is clean. I like that steelbook
It's
a lot.
going
Steelbook is
in and out of
clean, but
stock.
I tell you what, for the price that they're asking for it, I don't know if it's worth it just for that
80
steelbook.
Yeah, that's why I
80?
decided to
89?
opt out.
Yeah,
honestly.
89.
it's $90.
It's 90, and like
Ooh.
the thing is like Metroid: Samus Returns had an awesome collector's edition that was $60. Now, granted, 3DS games were priced differently. The full price 3DS games were $40, but for $20 more, you got an art book out of it. You got like some keychains out of it. You got like some like cool little like lithograph art cards out of it too, and like it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're gonna add $30 to the price tag, you gotta do more than just a steel
Get a-
case.
It's like a
Yeah.
little, you get like that bigger box, you get the art book, deal book, and these little art cards.
Honestly, like you already know too, like somebody on eBay like will probably sell the steelbook separately for like $10 or $15 or something.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'd rather just do that. So
Yeah.
You mean like $30 or 40? That's what's probably gonna happen.
Well, probably.
Well,
$300.
not. But
300.
Well,
Actually,
a lot of
I
times.
looked-
you want to talk about dread?
Yeah,
That's-
well, a
that's
lot of
what I'm
times
dreading.
what happens is sometimes they have steelbooks in other countries for the pre-order bonus. That's the same steelbook. It's in
Yes.
a limited edition. Then they,
Yes, and
people
sometimes
turn
you can get
around
it
and
cheaper.
sell them on eBay. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
So maybe
it's
get
like,
the one from the UK.
I bought the Terminator Resistance game from Limited Run, and it was $49.99, I think, for this disc version on PS5. $10 more got you the collector's edition. I thought, well, what the heck? For $10, it's got a steel book. I'll get it. It had
Yeah.
a steel book. It had a hardcover comic book with it, and it had postcards with it. It was all in a nice little slim little package. I was like,
Yep.
holy crap, for $10, that was a deal. Especially
I
on
still
Limited Run
maintain-
games, so.
I still maintain the best collector's edition to this day. I think in terms of like price, value, and what you got, I think is still the Yakuza 6 collector's edition. That was
Yeah,
either 80 or 90
$100.
bucks.
It was $90. No,
I think 90. Okay,
was it 90 or 100? I
no,
think
it definitely wasn't
Oh,
100. It definitely
Metroid
wasn't 100. I
Dread comes
remember it
with
not
an
being
art
100.
book.
is it a physical art book? I thought it was a digital.
Yeah,
art
It
book.
has some art cards and it has a 190-page art book according to
Art
this.
book.
Okay, but
article.
I still don't know if that's worth $30 more or not.
It's
I mean, maybe.
sitting at about 150, 170 on the secondary.
Yeah, that Yakuza. I thought that Yakuza was 99. I thought it was $100 even.
No, it was definitely, it must have been 90 because definitely, I remember when I looked at it, I was like, man, that's like not even 100. That looks amazing. Because I remember when that happened, and like it came with 2 whiskey glasses, which I thought were going to be plastic. Nope, they are
They're
actual,
glass.
like really nice, beautiful, like well-made glass. And it
Come-
came with a small little art book. The packaging was incredible, and it came with 2 little refreezable ice cubes that had the sort of that had like Japanese on it, and it was awesome. And like I feel like I'm missing something else, but yeah, no,
little
that was
coasters. It came with coasters.
the coasters. That's right. I'm using it right now. Oh my god,
Yeah, mine are in the glass cabinet over there.
that's a little what these are. Yeah, I've literally been using these coasters since since that collector's edition came out. These things have been so amazing. They've been incredible.
Let's see.
I love these things.
I will tell you how much it is because I purchased it on August 19th, 2017.
Ooh.
And it was, I can't give you a good price of it because that was back when Amazon was doing was it 25% off that if you were a Prime
Pre-order.
member?
It was
Yes.
20% off because they were
I have
competing with
a
Best Buy.
story about that for our PC
Well,
section.
It was 70. I paid $71.99 for it. So what's 20% of $71.99? Is that
Oh,
So that
that's
would have been
not
90
even
bucks.
yeah? So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
So at $90, so $89. I mean,
Yep,
it's,
because that's $18 off. So
Yeah.
yeah, that would have been 20%
Not
off
bad.
of that.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
would buy
$90
that.
bucks
still,
to
and,
I would
well,
buy
and
that.
still, right now, you could buy it on Amazon for $97.98, and I think that's
Still.
worth every penny of
That's a
it.
steal. That's still even though you can get the game by itself now for like on sale for like $10,
yeah.
like it's still worth it. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's still worth it.
Man, I wish Amazon still did that pre-order stuff. I pre-ordered so many stinking games.
Oh yeah, well, in Best Buy, I was a member with the GCU with Best Buy, so
Yeah.
I was just every
Yeah,
game
yeah.
pre-order,
I mean,
pre-order,
that was
everything.
less than $72 for that whole set. That was, woo.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. I for a solid 3 years, I never paid $60 for a game. It was great.
Nah, and now I still don't pay full price for a game. I just use
Yeah, you
gift
can go to
cards from
Walmart
staying in a
and-
hotel. That's
Yeah.
I got it's like I got something in the mail the other day. I'm like, oh, my Midnight Black controller. I was like, oh, $70. Well, okay, I'll get it. Oh wait, I got a $50 gift card and a $20. And okay, I didn't pay anything for it. So it's like,
Yeah.
yay! That's my favorite way to get things is not pay for them.
Hey.
Let somebody else pay for them. So. God bless the companies for making me stay in 96 nights in a hotel this year. I can't. That was the Zelda thing. They talk more about the Rabbids. Life is Strange True Colors and Life is Strange Remastered come to Switch. That was
awesome.
kind of surprising.
Yeah, that was a
did
big
not-
surprise.
Yeah, I didn't think that was coming. That'll be awesome to play on the
I
Switch.
think maybe I'm wrong, but True Colors is that gonna be a cloud version?
You know what? You may be right.
As the original, like remastered whatever versions, they could probably port that to
Let's
Switch
see.
fairly well. But
Yeah, I don't see that being an issue. But True Colors might be just because it looked almost identical. So like I was like, oh wow.
It
Like
doesn't say here in this article. Let me pull up the other article and see.
yeah, there's no way they could do that on Switch at more than like half a frame a second.
unless the optimization is just like unreal, just because like
But it's
Like,
the
it looked
Switch.
almost identical.
Like, we'll see. But yeah, I don't know.
I think I read somewhere that was the cloud version. Let me say.
but also like not only that, but with like Guardians of the Galaxy also coming to
yeah,
Switch.
that's the
Yeah,
other
any-
one.
That is a cloud version for sure.
Yeah,
That is
it has to
okay.
be. Yeah.
Because if
It
anything's
said
gonna
so.
run at 5 frames a second, it's gonna be that.
Yeah.
Like
Despite how bland it looks, at least to me.
It's nothing saying that the True Colors is a stream or the cloud
Yeah, I don't know. I
version.
thought I'd heard that on like a podcast
I thought I did
recap
too,
somewhere,
yeah.
but I haven't actually looked it up, so I could just be wrong.
Yeah,
That's
nothing's
fine.
saying it is, but yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, the cloud version. Cloud version things are weird. I'd like to try it. I'd like to try it out, but I don't want to pay $60 to try the cloud version. out.
Yeah, no.
no, not for a cloud version.
yeah.
God, no.
Let's see. Fatal Frame, Maiden of the Black Water was announced. I figured Dennis had some thoughts on Fatal
Oh, I
Frame.
It's
do.
the Wii
I
U game, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So my thoughts basically, number one, Nintendo, why didn't you do this sooner? Because I literally hooked up my Wii U last year to play exclusively to play this game because I wanted to stream it and play it, and that's exactly what we did.
I got it from another one. Not why did they do this sooner? It's like, why have you still not done
A
Zelda
new one.
from you do Fatal Frame and like literally every other Wii U game except for the Wii U port of Wind Waker. Like just do
Just
Wind
do
Waker.
Wind Waker.
Like no one wants Skyward
Yeah.
Sword. Do Wind Waker.
No.
Yeah.
It's there.
There we
Come on.
Yep. Yep.
But no, we'll do Fatal Frame
100%.
first. That's fine.
Fine.
It'll end up being Breath of the or not Breath of the Wild. Wind Waker will be the only like game on Wii U that never gets a Switch port. We're gonna all be very sad.
Yeah, exactly.
My
But man, I want to play that game in handheld so bad. It would be
my
so good.
thoughts basically like I don't know, I had a range of emotions. It's awesome to see, and I hope it sells well because first of all, Fatal Frame used to be like one of the god tier horror IPs and now it's just one of those things that's just been dormant for so long and just kind of like lost its sort of traction basically since like 2010 basically. So we're at Fatal Frame 4 on the Wii, which we never got. And then I think there was like a spin-off or a remake. I know they had Spirit Camera on the 3DS, which again, that didn't sell because they didn't promote that at all. And I'm a big Fatal Frame guy. And, I have 1, 2, and 3 all backwards compatible on my PS3 via the PS2 classics. And those are fantastic. And I just want that series to come back bigger and better than ever. And I know it can, but it's just, I guess not unfortunate. It's great to see it, but just weird that all this time and you decide to just port the Wii U version rather than just kind of go.
I
and
can
make
tell
a
you
move.
why, because Fatal Frame isn't as big as you think it is, and so they're testing the waters to see if they can sell this one, and then maybe
Yeah.
they'll do it.
Yeah,
I guess, but but it's just unfortunate. Is all.
I mean, Fatal Frame isn't going to be like, hey, there's a new Silent Hill or there's a new Resident Evil or some of those.
Probably,
it's not that tier. So Nintendo's got enough other projects that they're probably like, okay, we can just put a studio on porting this and then see how it does.
Yeah.
I mean, is there going to be enough interest? I think people are interested in the series. There's definitely fans, but is there going to be enough of an interest from your average guy, your average game?
I mean, it's also because it's a Wii U game. A lot of people never played it.
Right.
So for a lot of people, it's brand new.
That is true. Yep. Very true. The oddest part there that I think was omitted, I didn't find this out until later, but even though now, full disclosure, Nintendo owns the property for Fatal Frame. They bought it from, who used to have it? Was it Capcom or Konami? One of them, like forever ago when they weren't doing so well. Like a long time ago, they one of those companies was not doing well. It might have been Koei Tecmo, actually. They were not doing well and they started selling off stuff. Nintendo bought Fatal Frame. So that's why the last couple have all been on Nintendo-only consoles. Now, and they've all been published by Nintendo. This one, oddly enough, is coming everywhere. So that's weird. So it's a Wonderful 101 situation where it's just like Nintendo has the publishing rights, yet for some reason, it's also going to be releasing on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. So,
which makes me very curious. What's it going to look like on those platforms?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it depends on how much really resources and investments they're really doing with the port to begin with. Really, I guess. Otherwise, they look
at the very least, it will probably be a much better, like frame rate, for sure. Whatever, maybe resolution too, like at full 4K on some of those. Who knows?
It'll be nice too, just because like the gamepad wasn't the most responsive. Like it was a cool idea using the gamepad as a camera because you could hold it and kind of like look around like that. But
makes you think of Zombie U. Running around, holding up the gamepad.
Yeah, right. Except good, and it's but it wasn't the most responsive. So I'm hoping now that, especially on PC, with just a mouse being able to zip and zap everywhere, it'll be a little more accessible. But
well, and that's probably how they they'll judge it for making money. Well, let's make this a multi-platform and see what happens.
Yeah. But we'll see. I hope it does well. I really do. That way, hopefully, there can garner some interest again in the IP and watch it grow again like it should. Just because it's been mistreated, at least especially in the West, because like I said, there have been a few since the third one, but they've all been sort of Japan only. They never got localized anywhere else. So I'm hoping people see this as like, oh my God, like let's go ahead and support this, and hopefully we'll get something.
Maybe that's why they're trying to shotgun approach of put it everywhere we can, and somehow they got Nintendo to say yes to that.
Yeah,
somehow, yeah.
Now, if they could just do that with Bayonetta, that'd be great.
Yes, I want Bayonetta 2 on other than Nintendo. Like, give me a PC port of that game, please.
Yeah. Dragon
Name
Ball.
Sega.
Yep. Well, Sega sold it to them, so.
Yep.
Sega had to have money, so.
Nintendo's been treating it well, though.
Oh yeah,
so,
way better than I thought they ever would. I mean, when I saw Bayonetta, when Nintendo got Bayonetta, I went, "Oh man, there goes that game." We'll never.
Now it's going to turn into Harry Potter.
T rating? Oh no.
Yeah. Let's see. Dragon Ball Z game coming in September. Super Monkey Ball, Banana Mania officially announced. That's pretty cool. I haven't played a Monkey Ball game in forever.
I mean, now you can play the old ones again.
Yep. All
AKA the good ones.
Shiny. Shin Megami Tensei 5 comes out November 12th. The trailer for that looked phenomenal. I can't wait to get that. There's my 3 Nintendo Switch games on my list.
I've never played one of those games, but just from you guys vaguely aware that it was connected to Persona in some degree or fashion. I'm like, wait, I know that enemy design. I know that enemy design just from the one Persona game I've played.
Hopefully that's what everybody else will, and they'll buy it. It's like,
is that just Nintendo, or is that coming other places too?
No, I think it's just on the Switch.
Just Switch. Okay.
Yeah. Tensei has always been a Nintendo thing, and while Persona has always been a PlayStation thing. They've always kind of separated those two for some reason.
Except for
the only time you ever saw Persona was Persona Q on 3DS.
Well, they had they had some of the Tenichi on PlayStation 2. What was it?
Yeah, well, that was long before.
Devil
They started going
Summoner.
into.
Yeah, then they leaned off of that and went into Nintendo.
All the remasters and remakes all started becoming Nintendo only. Like Devil Summoner, the remaster was on 3DS. Devil Survivor 1 and 2, 3DS. What was it? Strange Journey Redux, 3DS. They were all Nintendo exclusive. Even though at one point,
which was funny because the original Shin Megami was on Super Nintendo, back in the day, and then all of a sudden it was on PlayStation, and it was on PlayStation for the longest time, and then went back to Nintendo. So that's fine, wherever. I've got them all, so I don't care where it goes. I'll get it one way or the other at this point. Monster Hunter Stories 2. I didn't play Monster Hunter Stories, so
it's cute. It's cute. It's really cute. I think for people who want to get into Monster Hunter but maybe can't handle the sort of mechanics of it, Monster Hunter Stories is a great place to start. It's to still kind of get you familiar with the world, but have a formula that's more of a traditional turn-based sort of RPG format. So it's great, and I know for a fact the second one will be great, if not better, than Monster Hunter Stories was on 3DS.
Cruising Blast Speed, Cruising Blast. Haven't had a cruising game in a long time, so.
Eric was telling me that apparently there was one. What was it on Wii? Is that right?
Yep. There's one on the Wii.
Because I have not played it since Nintendo 64.
It's okay. It's not great, but it's awful.
Okay.
What hurt cruising was when the arcades went away.
Yeah, and Midway. Midway doesn't.
Midway, Midway
I don't know who owns the rights. Whoever Midway's games probably has got them. But I don't know. I'm pretty excited about this new one. Just with the few things.
That's a good question. Who does own Midway stuff?
I don't remember.
The problem is, it might have been one of the ones where they sold the assets to different companies.
Probably, but who knows?
I feel like something THQ would scoop up.
Yeah,
it could have been. Instead of old, I maybe should have put owns. I don't know how I did that. I was like old. No, that's a manufacturer.
Have Midway, they had a compilation Midway Collection 1 and 2 on GameCube, and I had that. Those were awesome. I used to play
Warner Brothers.
Yeah, Warner Brothers. So that means probably this new cruising game will probably be pretty good.
You know what's hilarious?
Well, apparently it's an arcade game from 2017.
Yeah.
So they're just porting it.
I'm fine with that. That was what I liked about the cruising games was the arcadey. Those were great.
That's what made those fun.
Even better if it's $30 or less.
Yeah.
No way that game can be $60. Absolutely not.
No, I think it's probably going to be around 40. Is probably what it's going to be if I just had to guess.
Well, I'm still interested.
Yeah,
that's 30 tracks.
Yeah, I mean that's
30 tracks. Okay, all right.
A lot of tracks.
That's a lot of
tracks. That is a lot, actually. That's awesome.
Anything else stick out to anybody?
We skipped over Mario Party Superstars. What?
There's a reason why I skipped over that.
It's like, here's all the Mario Party stuff from old Mario Party games, and it's got online play, so you can annoy people through online now too.
Right.
Oh no!
Here's the thing with that one, though. Like, in the 30 seconds that I saw, it already looks substantially better than Super Mario Party ever did. I hate it.
You're not wrong.
But it's still Mario Party. If you like Mario Party, I'm sure that looks fine. But as someone who doesn't care for Mario Party, is like, yay.
Sure. Now, here's what makes this one different / better than the other Mario Parties that we've seen. Not just the mainline ones, but they've had compilations before, like the Top 100 on 3DS. I think they did something like that. And they had a few on GBA or whatever. But this one, however, is literally all of the best ones from 64 and GameCube, which had all the best Mario Parties, and as far as I'm concerned, the only ones that mattered. So we're all on 64 and GameCube. Everything after that, pointless. Don't matter. Throw it away. But this is a compilation of the Mario Parties that made Mario Party. So I think this one would be, a really solid compilation compared to the other nonsense that we've had before. So
If you care about Mario Party,
Yeah.
which if you still think the original Mario Parties are still trash, then you don't care about this one. So that's again, it's something that's not for me, which is fine. Yeah.
You won't get much of like a callus in the middle of your hand this time. Hopefully they've kind of taken care of that. So
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of broken Joy-Cons. A lot of
they break
drifting.
themselves.
A lot
Lots
of
of
drifting.
drift.
Yeah, a lot of
Give me that
drifting.
There
Pro
you go.
controller. I'll show you what's up.
Yeah.
I'm hitting on my desk. It's still angry.
Go ahead. What was you gonna say, Dan?
There was a couple of other ones on the Switch also. Like I think one of the bigger ones also is like finally. Not that look. This game has been ported to hell and back at this point, but finally, it's on Switch, which is basically every Danganronpa game ever. Finally, is coming to Switch as well as a new Danganronpa. So I'm happy to finally have those. But yeah, other than that, I think we basically covered the bulk of it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was a good show. I'd put it right below Microsoft. I still think Microsoft.
Yeah, it was
had
a
the
solid
best, but it
Nintendo
was a solid
Direct,
Nintendo.
especially with the elevated expectations you have because it's an E3 Direct. It was still
Right.
like it's pretty good. They didn't have anything that was like a big megaton, like holy crap, I can't believe that. Even like Metroid Dread was probably the closest to that, but even that is still kind of just like, wow, that's great. But it wasn't like
Yeah, nothing
super
made like
insane.
a huge splash like previous years. Usually, like when Nintendo Direct comes around, especially in E3, like I'm usually jumping out of my chair. This one it felt a lot more tame this time around, but it's really solid though.
So
Yeah,
for
lots to look forward to.
Yeah, for example, they didn't have anyone pull out like a Switch Pro out of a pocket or anything. That
Right.
would have been insane. But
Correct.
they didn't do that. So,
No.
you know.
And somebody actually questioned him after the show, and they said they would announce a new console when the time was right, or an updated console.
I'm going to guess that COVID plus chip shortages equals not this year, like
Yep.
everyone seemed to think. Because if they haven't said something about it now, there's no way they're going to try and sell it in the fall with all of that insanity. It'll
No.
probably be some point next year, whenever it shows up.
Yeah, that's my guess too, because
Plus, they don't have to put one out. They're still selling so many regular
No.
Switches that they can take their time.
yeah,
Like they don't
Yeah.
care.
and they
You just had the purple Switch Lite come out,
what's that?
or the blue, whatever they just had that new color
Yeah.
Switch Lite come out too, which I'm sure sold just as many as any other Switch. So.
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think with the chip problems, and they see Microsoft and Nintendo or Sony having trouble keeping consoles in stock, they're not going to add to that madness because they want.
Well, less that more than their own back end of manufacturing. They
Right.
still just have just the two versions of the Switch is already going to be complicated enough to get enough of those out there, let alone adding a third version out there.
Yeah. Plus, they want to have their own. They want to generate their own shortages. They don't want.
There's
they
that.
They
Yeah,
want to
they-
fake generate their own shortages.
Nintendo wants
they
to
don't wanna
have,
an actual shortage. They want to generate
Yeah.
their own shortage.
They want to have millions in
On their
warehouses
terms.
that they can
Shortages-
slowly release.
Yeah. Every time, that's the one thing that sticks with me from working for GameStop when the Wii came out was, we had a back room full of Wii's, and everybody was like, nope, you can't sell them and tons of people came in every day. You got Wii's? Nope. You got Wii's? Nope. You got Wii's? Nope. Yeah, we're just holding on to them. Now we got Wii's. It's like, so yeah, it always sticks. That's the one thing that stuck with me was, so when Nintendo goes, oh, we're having a hard time getting consoles. Oh yeah, are you really? PC gaming show we'll talk about next. I tried to watch it.
Don't.
I got 5 seconds into it and went,
PC,
I can't do it.
PC gaming show is like a good maybe 45 minutes of stuff that they stretch over like 2 or more hours in the past. I don't remember how long this year. I think it was 2. I didn't really look, but they put so many just like ads and fluff bits in the middle that pretty much everyone else has mostly gotten rid of Plus,
my
like,
gosh.
I get why they need to do ads because I believe it's PC Gamer who does this, so it's
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
they're going to be able to just do it on their own. Except they could, but they're not going to. So that's why they get all the sponsors. But they still have all of the just like fluffy bits with hosts in between, just like way too much of that, and it stretches all this stuff over so much time.
Yeah, it really did. It was just like I can't do it. I can't do it. I tried. I really tried to.
I did watch a little bit, even though they already saw it on some other stuff. I did watch a little bit on the Dying Light trailer, and that made me think about pre-ordering from Amazon a couple years ago and getting that discount. I'm pretty sure I look back and I pre-ordered it from Amazon, Dying Light 2, probably 2 or 3 years ago when they're still giving the 20% off.
Yeah, I mean they will as long as they order, as long as they don't pull some kind of thing and say, well, this order will never come in. We've listed it under another.
The release date was sometime like the end of September or end of December.
Yeah.
So, but now it looks like it's actually coming out.
Did anything stand out to anybody other than Dying Light? I mean, that seemed to be what
They had
everybody was talking about.
They have a lot of indie titles. Yeah, a lot of cool indie titles.
There was that FPS game that was also like an MMO. Let's see. Oh, Pioneer? Yeah, that's what it's called. It's kind of like Stalker.
Okay.
Looks like it has like a modern like take on the Pip-Boy from like Fallout. It looked kind of cool. They only showed like a little bit of stuff about it. It looks like kind of like dark Metro Exodus kind of vibes, but other than that, there wasn't very much.
I like the look of Silt, the game called Silt, because it looks a lot like
Inside
like
and Limbo, just the style of it. It's not them, but it looks like that kind of a game.
Yeah.
Or at least art-wise, it looks like that kind of game. I don't know that the gameplay is necessarily going to end up being that way, but
there was one called Solstice that looked pretty cool. It looked up my alley.
That one looked cool.
The dude's got like a Buster Sword though. It's literally just
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. But otherwise, that one looked really cool and definitely piqued my interest. Other than that, I usually watch the PC Gaming Show because it's just like I fall asleep, man. Like it's just not well put together.
I wanted to watch
it's where presentation suffers, man.
Yeah,
like you gotta like some decent trailers, but the way you present them is just like, oh.
Well, and when all of a sudden it's like we're in a spaceship, now we're in this. I'm like, what is going on? I don't care.
You jump right in the middle of the show. You're like, what?
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? And then it's like, and then it was sponsorships, and fine, I can live with the ads. I can live with the sponsorships. I can live with this trailer. Yeah, we're teaming up with Epic to do this or teaming up with whoever to do that. I can live with that. But man, just give me a show and say, here's some trailers. Bam, 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 bam. And then if you want to talk in between, fine.
That's what Microsoft did too.
Now we're in space. It's like no.
There were two other titles that were kind of interesting to me. One was Death Trash. It's an isometric twin stick shooter with kind of like a sort of like a death demon theme with like blood and organ harvesting. That was kind of I like kind of weird games like that. And then there was Songs of Conquest, and it looks like a Heroes of Might and Magic kind of game, like those old strategy games from the 90s.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the thing for that one.
It's pretty cool. Those games are big old time sink back. So I'll have to keep my eyes on them.
I'm glad the PC Gaming Show exists because there's stuff that'll show there that won't ever show anywhere else.
Right.
But they need to like guys, every single year everyone complains about how you do your show and that a lot of it is a waste of time and they still don't change it.
I'm laughing because I'm just thinking about how it goes on for 3 hours and the audience.
Oh my gosh.
Like every time I know that they get feedback, or at least if they're paying attention to social media podcasts and stuff, people are complaining about the PC Gaming Show ever since they started doing it. As far as like, there's some cool stuff in here, guys, but your presentation sucks. And they have changed it a little bit, but not in the right ways. So it's just like, guys, cut the fat.
Yeah.
Come on.
And that's sad. That's just an injustice to the games that you have on there because most of them are really, really good games.
Yeah.
And people will never see them any other way. So
you can go watch all the trailers independently afterwards.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna want to watch the actual show because you want a good show to watch, that's not it.
Yeah. Oh, Eric, you've been called out by Dan in the chat. If you've got the chat pulled up, he says
I don't. What do you say?
He says that you're asleep at work most of the time too. So. Man, shots fired right off the bat. It was like,
Yeah.
Dan didn't even come in and say hello, just immediately, yeah, Eric sleeps at work too, so it's no big deal. What?
Well,
Man, take that outside. Anyway,
all right.
Capcom had a show. They showed a few things. They talked about Resident Evil Village. Showed more Monster Hunter Stories 2.
It feels like the definition of we have an E3 show because we think we have to.
Yeah.
That was so weird, like what they had.
Weird, yeah. It was all stuff that we knew was coming out, and some of it's coming out fairly soon. Like,
I mean, I guess it was short.
Yeah, I mean, it was really short.
The only interesting news that came out of it to me, anyways, was that they announced that, like, I think it was literally just something that they just greenlit, but literally have nothing on right now. Is like they did say DLC is coming to Resident Evil Village from due to high demand, which hopefully means that Lady Dimitrescu will get a little more screen time, because literally, like, she was in all the marketing material and she was there for literally no time at all. Drove me crazy. Drove everybody crazy. And yet she was like one of the most compelling characters. A great cast of people in Resident Evil Village, but her story in that castle especially is so much fun to run around that, like, her and her environment is the most compelling out of all of them. So
I don't know. Capcom could have said, hey, Nintendo, we want a little segment to talk about the update to Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch. Hey, we want, they didn't have to have their own little 20-minute thing.
I mean, they could have put it out as a press release and gotten about as much splash as they do from their show, but I don't know.
Yeah, it was very strange, but hey, it's there. There's trailers if you want to see it. Limited Run did their E3 announcements like they usually do of all the physical games that they're going to bring out within the next at least 2021. Oh yeah, there's some real good stuff. Axiom Verge 2, Castlevania Requiem, Symphony of the Night,
Rondo of Blood,
the
Contra Turbo Duo.
Yep. Golly, what else was there?
Physical copy of Heaven. That's pretty cool.
Ghoul Patrol and Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Yeah, Zombies Ate My Neighbors. River City Girls on PS5. River City Girls 0 on the Switch. And River City Girls 2 on the Switch, PS4, and PS5.
Republic.
You like Shantae?
Yeah.
You like all the Shantaes?
They're all coming to PS5 physically.
Retromania Wrestling.
Yeah, easy for everybody to say. Let me try to say it fast. Yeah, that's coming out. I mean, there's a good selection of things. I know they've started to, they've got the rights, or they've got the contract to do Xbox games, which they didn't have the last time. I was surprised that there wasn't any Xbox releases on their
I wonder, do you think that's going to be like new games going forward? Do you think it's going to be like stuff just...
I guess it's got to be stuff that's going to actually be on Xbox, because I'm guessing some of this may not be on Xbox. I don't know.
I was really... Did you see that, if everybody remembers Plumbers Don't Wear Ties? That was a 3DO game back in the day, right?
Yep.
That's an interesting release. I'm sure a few people will buy it. Hunt Down is actually a really good game. They had already Hunt Down Collector's Edition. It's already been released and sold out. But there is a rumor that they are going to release a regular edition of Hunt Down.
Yeah.
So if you missed the Collector's Edition, it's a fun game.
So I didn't watch the stream, but the Rondo of Blood, it says Turbo Duo. Are they actually releasing that on the Turbo? No, man, come on.
Yep. That's pretty cool.
Why, I guess. Why you got to do that? That's just...
I know, and it's going to be like for that, small group of collectors.
Well, and this is something we're going to talk about. This is something we're going to talk about on next week. We're going to do, Back to Bits will be back. And next week we're going to talk about, what's the other limited run group over in Europe?
Limited?
Strictly Limited, yeah. I think it was Strictly Limited. I have to look it up, but anyway, one of those groups they sent out a press release the other day where they're publishing games that they have funded, and they're digital. They're not going to be any digital release of them. They're going to be physical only, and they're limited to whatever 5,000 copies or something like that. And everybody lost their mind because it's like you're not even going to at least put a digital game copy of the game out there, and you're limiting it to 5,000 copies. So you've literally cornered a market. It's like, but. Yeah, I always enjoy to see. I always enjoy watching or reading what Limited Run is bringing out, because over the years they've done. Limited Run wasn't my favorite at first because they were so hard to get. You had to be right there. But now that they've done a lot of the open pre-order stuff for a month at a time or a couple weeks at a time, give you the opportunity to pre-order it. At this point, if you don't get a copy of it, it's your own fault because you had plenty of time to get a copy of it. And you just
very, very rarely do they put them just for a limited.
Yeah, so that's always a good thing, and I'm glad they changed that. It makes me appreciate the company more.
But I also think because they've gotten bigger, I think now at this point, you allocate so much before versus now. It's like, all right, leave it open for a month. Whatever number we end up with by the end of by the time we close pre-orders, that's how much we'll produce.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about Retronauts. Actually, they were talking about is they decided that it's better for them to just let people buy, just have it open pre-order, get it to as many hands as possible.
Yeah, because I mean, the thing is the secondary market on the ones that were limited, that were only 2,500 or 5,000 copies or whatever, it goes crazy. But even the secondhand market goes crazy on the ones that's open for a month. And, they maybe sell 6, 7, 8, 10,000 copies of it. And the secondary market still is high on it, which I don't understand why. But, I mean, I guess some people somewhere just don't pay attention to things like that and go, oh, I want Scott Pilgrim physically on the, the Switch.
I need every Switch release.
And see, Dennis and Nathaniel will have the opportunity in the fall to go to the Limited Run store that they're opening in Cary. I think it's in Cary or Apex, one or the other. They're actually opening a store.
Because I think they're going to have like stuff that you're not going to be able to get, or stuff they held back.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to be
limited stock. Yeah,
I'll send you my list, Dennis.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that's what we'll end up doing. We'll end up sending Dennis and Nathaniel lists, and they'll have to run to the store and go, "Hey, can you go check and see how much this is?" Or when I'm down there running through for work, it's like, well, I got to swing by the Limited Run store and see what they got going on there before I go on. It's like pencil in my stop. Okay, where is this? That's what I do. So, Xbox had a Xbox Games Extended Showcase, which I didn't know they were having.
It's a weird thing to call it because it sounds almost like, hey, we're doing a showcase again, but extending it, and that's not really what it was.
I think it was a victory lap.
Pretty much. The coolest thing about it, though, was it was fun seeing Paris Lily host it.
Yeah, it was.
I knew him from Kind of Funny. He's on their Xbox podcast, plus he's on like some of their other podcasts every once in a while, like their daily one and stuff. He does, I think, Gamertag Radio as well, some other stuff too that he's been around. But just seeing him on like an official Xbox thing rather than just an Xbox person was pretty cool.
Yeah, and he did a great job.
I mean, it was
awesome. It was great. It was awesome. I loved his little controller that he had with. That was really good too.
Well, that was like an inside joke too.
Did you yeah,
of like Khalif Adams, I believe it's like Cock Can't Cook is an ongoing, like they snipe at each other back and forth on Twitter just to be goofy, and he's got like a big one up now that he did that on a like Xbox show.
Yeah.
Plus, it was a controller with some nice colors.
Yeah. And we can go ahead and talk about the Design Lab thing first, because I didn't realize they had taken the Design Lab thing down.
Yeah, they did that a long time ago. Because look, you guys know I have a controller problem, right? So I mean, the moment it got taken down, I mean, it was like going cold turkey after smoking however long. So
I need all the colors in the kit. Get them.
You're going to take it down quick. I got to make 1 million of these before they all.
So the Design Lab went down, and so did I. And once it came back up, trust me, I was on it right away. Now I noticed some things right away. So some things changed. Now it's not as fancy as it was before. So for example, like you're strictly choosing the colors for the design of now your Series X controller. So, and to be fair, that's fine because it's the updated controller, and it's also backwards and forward compatible.
Right.
You know, obviously, so you're going to be working on your Series X. It'll work perfectly fine on your Xbox One. It'll work on your PC as well. So no need to do an Xbox One controller anymore, anyways. So, but you can't do like. You can't like change the bumpers into like a chrome sort of version of a color, or you can't choose between matte and more like smooth stuff like that. It's just this is what you get. Choose a color and go from there.
That's something that they will like expand over time because like okay, we're gonna put enough options to when we start, and then so we can get it running, and then they'll maybe expand like, hey, here's some new colors now. You can get shiny stuff, whatever over time to get more splashes of like, hey, pay attention again. Here's shininess.
Yeah, I always appreciate that they've done this. I think it's an awesome idea because you're not like Sony that every couple months would bring out a new color or something like that. I could just go to the website, make the color that I want, and get it, and be done with it. And I appreciate that. My only problem is I use an Elite 2 controller that I don't want to stop using because it is a fantastic controller. So for me to make those controllers, they would just be for show, and I can't spend that kind of money on a controller just to sit on the shelf and go, look at my controller that I made.
Look at its glory next.
I can't do it. I just can't bring myself to do it. But I will sit on my phone watching TV for a solid hour and just go, ooh, that design looks awesome. Oh man, that would be cool. Oh, I like that. That's sweet. Or, hey, look at this, honey. Didn't that awesome? Oh yeah, man, that'd be cool.
Hey, this controller says Eric sleeps at work.
Yeah, this controller says Eric. Dan knows what to get Eric for Christmas. A Design Lab controller.
I can always use another controller.
Inscribed with Eric sleeps at work. That would be hilarious. But yeah, that was really cool. I do love that. I really like that a lot. It's very, very fun just to make things.
Well, I mean, it's super easy to use, and they have simplified the process. And the best part I think about it is like you don't pay a premium for it either. It's the same price as a normal controller, except you're designing one that's unique to you. The only reason why it would be more is you can engrave words on it. Now that's an additional $10, but otherwise, if you're just designing a controller, $60-$70, you're good.
And that's what I say. That's I go out of my way to buy like the black controller for the PlayStation 5, where if they had a Design Lab thing like that, I could have just went on and made it and
just done it, and then you could just change the buttons however you liked, and done all that. So.
But what it pretty much was a lot of the stuff they showed was kind of, I don't want to say behind the scenes stuff. It was a little more in depth where they talked with
there was a lot of bring on either onto the set or via Zoom call a dev from whatever game they're talking about and interview them for anywhere from a couple of minutes. Like the Forza Horizon 5 one didn't really add a whole lot. It had a little bit of extra tidbit about the event lab thing where they talk about like those bowling pins, like someone had to place them and put points to them and their team points, but you could have done it for individual points. Like, so it was not a ton more information, but a little bit of stuff you probably could have just assumed based on the trailer.
Well, and then the other thing
but then they have stuff where they have people on there for like 5-10 minutes too, so it just depended on the game.
Yeah, and like the one thing that they just kind of offhandedly mentioned about Forza Horizon 5 was, if you're a Game Pass member, you could buy some DLC, pre-order some DLC, and get early access to the game or something like that. A couple days early.
They didn't say like if you had to buy it or not, but I would assume so. If it's stuff, you'd have to pay for it.
Yeah, they have to buy. You had to buy the DLC, so.
Where it's like, okay, if it's just a couple of days or whatever it is, just whatever. I'll wait for it to come out on regular Game Pass.
If it's a week, then I'm, and it's a $5 DLC, then I might, depending on how much the DLC is.
Yeah.
The one thing that I thought was a big thing was Ninja Theory talking about Hellblade 2. They really went into some depth on that with. Showing how.
If you want more depth, look at some stuff that's they've put up before this. So, like, they mentioned how the lead actress, who used to be like their video editor around the first game and became the character or whatever, she did a bunch of training to do sword fighting, and all the animators did. On her YouTube channel, she actually has like a diary that she's put about 2 or 3, 4 videos now out, and one of them was about all the training she did and stuff for this one, and they have a lot more in depth for that. So since I had seen that already, I was like, yeah, I knew that. That's cool. Oh wait, most people didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Because they probably didn't see her channel.
Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't have any idea about it.
But yeah, they just talked also about how like a lot of the same stuff that I think like Forza Horizon 5 talked about, like taking teams out to these locations and doing a lot of photogrammetry and just taking a lot of photos and all that stuff to make sure that all the environments look really good.
Yeah. Plague's Tale, the first one will be optimized for Series S and X and PS5.
That's exciting.
Is that
July
game
6th.
already on Game Pass? Yeah, it is on Game Pass.
It is on
already.
Game Pass.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's on Game Pass now for the better part of a year, maybe more.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. It seems like one that would be. I just didn't know.
Yeah, and I assume it will still be on there by when the optimization comes out July 6th. I wouldn't see why they would take that off. So, yeah, they'll keep.
I mean, it looked really good. So bumping up the resolution is going to make it look even better.
Yeah.
I played it on PC and it was really awesome there. So this is just going to make it even better for console.
Yeah.
Yeah, we reviewed it when it came out on the Gamers Lounge. So definitely read the review on that. It's an incredible game. I can't remember if we gave it a 4.5 or a perfect score, but it's up there. It's a great game.
I'd have to look it up.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
What else? Shoot, I had something in my brain and then it went away. I don't know if any of you guys who have Xboxes and Game Pass noticed that a lot of the new games like Forza 5, you could go ahead and pre-download some of the assets to the game.
I did notice that, but it's so early though.
Yeah, it's so early.
It's very early.
Here's the one that got me. Flight Simulator is available for pre-download on the Series X. I didn't have 300 gigs available on my internal hard drive to download that
game is not small.
No, that game is gigantic.
It's like, hey, we have the entire planet. The fact that they can get that down to 300 gigs is like, okay.
Well, I'm guessing this is maybe just the first part of it. I don't know.
Well, because they keep, if you paid attention to like kind of the interview part where he's talking about like, their plan for that is they've just been taking like, all right, here's a chunk of the planet, let's add a bunch of detail here. Now you can fly into the city, now here's this thing, and then every so often they do more of the simulation updates where they tweak all the simulations or maybe add new planes or something. So that's part of kind of what the Top Gun thing will be, adding the jets from there and there.
I told Nikki, I said I got some good news and I got some bad news. She said, what's the good news? I said, well, I've already got a 2 terabyte memory card for the Series X. She goes, well, what's the bad news? I go, I'm probably going to have to buy another one just for Flight Simulator.
Does she ever just smack you and say, you can re-download games?
No. She just looks at me and shakes her head and walks away. Is what she does.
It's like, I'm not getting into it.
Yeah, it's like I'm not even fighting that battle. In fact, that's all I did Friday was move stuff around. It's like, okay, I had Sea of Thieves on the external hard drive. I moved a bunch of stuff off the internal to the external, moved Sea of Thieves to the internal, bouncing stuff around, and I'm like, how does somebody with just 512 gigs, bounce all this stuff around all the time? Of course,
I still need to get an external drive. I've got the 1 terabyte.
Yeah.
Or the terabyte card, but I need to get that.
And I understand I'm that weird guy that has to download. I've got 112 games on my Series X right now. Am I playing all 112 games? No. Have I booted up half of those games? No. But every time I go, well, I might erase that. It's like, well, I might want to play it sometime, so I'll just leave it. It's like, but most
vicious
of them,
cycle.
It is a vicious cycle. I'm a digital hoarder.
If anything, I would say delete, just to kind of, if you wanted to streamline it, delete like the ones that are smaller in size
Yeah.
and keep the ones that are gigantic. That way, like if you did want to decide, like, oh, I'm gonna play that small little indie game, I'm gonna play Rain on Your Parade.
Yeah.
At least you'll download a gig or two, within like a couple of minutes
And
versus
honestly,
like 100+ gigs.
Honestly, moving from external to internal is not that long. I mean, even a 55 gig game takes like 3 minutes. I mean, it doesn't take that long.
It's impressive.
That's not long at all.
No, it's not long at all. Maybe 20 minutes, on a big game, big deal. But like, I've got Call of Duty on there. I'm like, just the campaign's 120 gigs. It's like, I just need to finish that stupid campaign so I can just delete that game off the hard drive and put that disc on the
4
shelf.
hours over with, man.
I know. And then it's like another game calls me, and it's like I'm sitting there going, we need to finish Gears of War 5. That's another 120 gigs. I could just knock off that thing once we finish that stupid campaign and be done with it.
And then Sea of Thieves, you said you reinstalled that. That's like 100 gigs right there too.
Yeah,
so
well,
Sea of Thieves.
I think it was 60. I think on Series X it was 66 or 60.
Oh, really? Okay, they must have compressed it then because
it wasn't that big. Well, I'm not going to say it wasn't that big. It wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be.
Right.
I'll say that.
It wasn't Red Dead, is what you're saying.
Right? Yeah, it wasn't Red Dead. But it's. I wish you could. The one thing that I wish you could do, especially on PS4 or PS5 and Series X, is choose which. And I know you can on PlayStation, but I wish on Xbox you could choose which version you wanted to play. Like if I wanted to play Gears of War 5, but I don't, even though I own a Series X or an S, I don't want to play that version. I just want to play the smaller, PS or the Xbox One version that maybe,
Right.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Some of those aren't smaller.
Yeah,
They're
some of them aren't.
bigger.
They're actually bigger. Yeah, you're right. So, but like, at least PlayStation does do that. But I don't have hardly anything installed.
Honestly, don't. It's better for the Xbox.
I
You
know it
shouldn't be
is, and
complaining about that.
I'm not. I'm not complaining. It's just
Yeah.
Just streamlines the process. They're just trying to make it things as acceptable to people as possible,
And
just in case you have people who aren't tech savvy. That way they don't have to sit there like, what's the difference? And they just
like
boot it up and-
PlayStation did it first, and a lot of people were playing PlayStation 4 versions of PlayStation.
They
5.
screwed it up. Good job,
and that's
Sony.
the problem. It's a headache. If you can avoid a headache, then just avoid it. You know. So,
Yeah. But, it's like what I saw, I was like, ooh, I could go ahead and download Flight Simulator. That'd be good. I mean, that comes out in July. I'll go ahead. 300 gigs. Nah, I'll just wait until the week.
That's why they have it now.
Yeah, it's like, I'll just wait and I'll download it the week before it comes out. I won't download it now. I'll wait a little bit. Then it was like, okay, now I got to do some digital shuffling. What games do I need to play now so I can finish them and delete them? Oh, I want to play Sea of Thieves and not play any of those games that I really want to delete.
What if you could do Flight Simulator where you could just chop out pieces of that game so you don't have to get all of it, so you'd just be flying around and then like, oh, there's just a hole. I'm in outer space now.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
Or if I want to...
Oh, you didn't download Europe. Sorry.
Yeah, and maybe they could do it that way. You could, if you just wanted to be in North America, or you could download the chunks. I don't know. I mean, then you're getting complicated.
The first thing I'm doing once I play that game, because technically you can play it now on PC. It's on PC.
Right.
Game Pass.
And I just need to download it to my PC and play it that way. Is what I really need to do.
Because like I've been meaning to.
So.
Yeah, because like I've been meaning to, but it is also 150 gigs, and like I first thing I want to do. The problem is like I don't know how much time I'm going to put into it, because what I really want to do is just download 150 gigs, jump in for 10 minutes, go straight to the Bermuda Triangle, and then I'm good. Because I just want to see.
I want to see if I can fly over my house.
Exactly.
That's all I want to do. I just want to see if I can fly over my house. It's like, that's all I want to do.
Well,
how detailed are you? Do you have a small rural community in West Virginia on this thing? Because I need to know. It's like, I don't want to fly to London. I want to fly to...
Just see if I can like replicate,
exactly.
that dreaded Amelia Earhart moment from so long ago that we all think about from time to time. Yeah.
But anyway, so anything else stand out to anybody on the Xbox side before we wrap things up?
They talked about Battlefield a little bit.
Yeah.
They talked about Sea of Thieves a little bit. They talked about Flight Simulator for quite a while. They had a little bit of a look at Hades and stuff. So yeah.
And that's coming physical to
Cool
Xbox,
stuff.
so that's cool. Even though
Yeah, we knew that already.
Yeah, which I mean, I'm glad they're bringing it out physically. I figured it would just be a digital only game, but I'm glad they're publishing it.
Yeah. I thought it was funny they ended with gameplay deep dive on Scarlet Nexus, which I swear has been on places way before E3. But
There's a demo out.
It's out, and I was like, and it's a demo out, and it's out in like a week.
All right,
I think that's pretty much why it was there. They're just like, hey guys, can you please put this here because our game comes out in a week.
And I've downloaded the demo, but I haven't played it yet.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome. It's a lot of fun.
I've watched enough of it that, like, unless reviews are terrible, I know that'd be a game I want to try. So I didn't even get the demo.
Yeah,
I just save it for the game.
Am I the only one that's disappointed with the cover art for the U.S. release versus the Japanese release?
Not just for Scarlet Nexus, but for Tales of Arise also. I don't know if you've seen the two Bandai Namco games where they just assume the market in the U.S. is still filled with insecure.
Why does Bandai do that? Bandai is the worst at that. Why is it Bandai that does that?
They've done it with so much of their stuff. Code Vein did it with Code Vein. They did it with so much of their stuff, and it drives me crazy. Me crazy. We get the most bland, and not just us, Europe too. We both get the most bland cover arts, and meanwhile Japan has the most beautiful, the most artistic, the most colorful sorts of photos, and it's just like, dude, like, and the thing for me is like, regardless of what demographic you're trying to hit, for whatever reason, I just feel like in terms of if you're laid out in the store, if the nicer your cover art, the more you're going to stick out. Because if your cover art just has some generic character right in the middle holding a gun again, you're going to look like just everything else sitting on that shelf.
And somebody's just going to go, well, this is just a generic gun game. I'm not interested.
Yeah, it was just some anime game.
Especially if you go to Walmart, you're not going to be able to see the back of that box because, it's in a glass case. So Walmart cover is everything. Walmart, Target,
Yep. So it drives me crazy. I hate the box art for it. Now, it'd be one thing if it was reversible, right? Because when you think about it, Assassin's Creed has been doing that lately too, right? Where like now, since you can play either a male or a female, usually, obviously, they still have the male on the front cover just to, with all those insecure people out there, just be like, oh no, but I don't want to play as a girl. But now, thankfully, you can like, it has reversible cover art. So what you do is you just grab it, flip it, put it on, and then voila, female Eivor or Cassandra's on the front, so it's.
Which are the superior versions of those characters.
Exactly.
especially Cassandra.
Yeah, especially Cassandra.
Because Alexia is some throwaway character.
But like Eivor is a little bit different too, because it's like it's the same character versus where the other one it was two different characters. But which one are you going to play as?
Yeah, in the case of Eivor, it doesn't matter much. But definitely for Cassandra, though, she's canon. So.
Female Eivor is way better, though. I did not like the male Eivor. He's better than the male character from the previous game, but still not as interesting as female Eivor, to me at least. Plus, she had the cooler haircut.
But I don't know what Bandai's doing in their sort of like box art department, but it's driving me crazy, and I want to know what the reasoning is. And I know it's got to do with some like demographic sort of marketing thing, just because it's like, but it's interesting. You see it a lot with Kirby. Also, Kirby in a lot of the American box art is always so angry.
Yeah.
For some reason, he's always looks like he's pissed off at something, and then meanwhile in the European and Japanese box arts, he's just so happy-go-lucky, But God forbid we don't make Kirby angry, we won't sell any copies.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Sega's gotten a lot better with that. Atlas
Sega's
has gotten
really
a lot
good.
better with that.
Sega, they've been really good.
Yeah. So I don't know. Get out of the past, Bandai. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't know what they're so afraid of. It's like just. I don't know, just keep one box art for everybody. I just feel like that causes more work and trouble for yourself, too, to make a bunch of different box arts. Just have the one and tell everybody to either deal with it or just, don't buy whatever,
Yeah.
Because then this becomes a global issue. This isn't just, and then now you could have avoided this headache, and now you got everybody from the West screaming at, Bandai headquarters over in the East going, what is this? What are you doing?
Just make box art that represents your game, and then there you go. You're good. You're not like, what do you think? You're going to fool someone into buying it because you made different box art, and then they're going to get it and be like, oh man, this is so great. No,
because
they're going to be like, what is this? This isn't what the box art had.
And like for those moments where, unlike Walmart, but when you do go somewhere else, like a Best Buy, like a GameStop, like a Target, whatever, and you can grab it and look at the back, if you read the summary right away, whatever the box art is, you're going to tell right away if it's for you or not. reading that box art. Yeah.
And I don't know when the last time was you flipped one over. A lot of them don't even have. They just have 2 lines of this game is up, or they don't even have a description of the game on some of the back. I mean, I
there's
guess
this
maybe
weird thing called a phone that a lot of people have that they can look it up on the internet and be like, "What is this game here? Oh, hey, this is what it is.
Yeah,
cool."
and that's just what I was going to say. I guess we've just entered a point where everybody's on social media, everybody's on the internet. That you don't need to have a box description, of your game, I mean,
it's the same as not having manuals in games and all that. It's just like minimize. It's just gotten much more minimal over time.
If Ratchet & Clank would have had a instruction book in there, I would not have been hitting that stupid L1 button for 5 minutes trying to get it.
Or I don't care if they have a manual or not, but if you don't have like a game control layout somewhere in your menus, then come on, what are you doing?
Well, it's like even Mass Effect came with 3 sheets of paper with each layout for each game on it. Yeah, that was nice.
Well, especially with the new generation of consoles where you're not going to have loading screens where they used to put a lot of instructions in there. They're going to have to change how they design their games so that people still get that information somehow.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
And don't just force a loading screen even though you don't need it, because that's stupid.
So, anyway, that is pretty much, I think, about everything that was anything of interest that was at E3 last week. Any final thoughts? Anything just, I mean, I didn't feel like anything was just earth-shattering, big, huge announcement like we've gotten in years past. But with the year we're coming off of, I kind of wasn't expecting that anyway. But
COVID slowing things down, so we weren't going to get anything like that.
Yeah. But go ahead, Dennis. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's just like everyone has their own events now too. It's just like you don't need E3 really. I feel like Xbox has had a few presentations this year.
We need E3 because it groups it all together and it gets this hype, and that is why it sucks that Sony was not there.
Yeah, I think it did Sony a big disservice not to have a State of Play during this week, even if it was Thursday. They didn't have to have a big 2-hour press event. I mean, maybe Sony just doesn't have anything really big this year to show other than Horizon, which they showed. I mean, God of War was delayed.
I mean, maybe, but I don't know. Like, they could have done the Horizon thing during this week, and that would have been a presence somehow. Like, even EA, who technically didn't have an event, they had Battlefield shown at Xbox, so they still had something of their show, which honestly is probably better because the last time EA's done theirs, they have a whole bunch of crap, and then they have like a couple things. So just take out the couple things people actually want to see, and then like put them in other people's
I mean, they didn't even you didn't even hear about Madden anywhere, and that game comes out in 2 months. It's like, you don't need to have a big presentation and say, hey, look, here's the new Madden game. Yeah, we know the new Madden game's coming out. It's going to look just like last year's. Maybe have a new this. Going to have we know.
We already know 23 is in development.
We know. Yeah, it's fine. You don't need.
We're already working on Madden. 33.
Yeah, I don't know. It just for me after Xbox came out with guns a-blazing like they did for an hour and a half, to hear silence from Sony really was strange. And then then Nintendo came out, and they had guns a-blazing too, maybe not on the level of Xbox, but I mean, it was still Here's
really the reason E3 matters is if you have everybody sort of like in one spot where they're forced to kind of like do these shows and you're trying to grab attention from everybody else, it forces them to compete. Whereas if everybody's just having their own different stuff, whatever they want to put it, they're not putting as much effort into, hey, we're trying to get things that are going to grab your attention, get things that are going to be things you want to play to the same degree that you do if you have all that focus on it.
What's funny is I've seen more people on social media since the Xbox announcement say that they were going to get an Xbox than I did when the Xbox Series X and S was announced.
A couple of those too.
That's because, hey, they have games to look at now instead of just a mini fridge.
The other, well, they had that too. I mean,
this year they had that too. Like
options, people, options.
Well,
there we go. That's what's next. We have the Xbox. We have the mini fridge next. They put the combo where it's the mini fridge game console, and it's both in one.
I'm just
KFC
missed
did it.
opportunities. I'm surprised you didn't call the
Built-in
mini
cooling.
fridge the Series F. Yeah, they should have just called it the Series F, and then just ended it at that.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Well, maybe they will. Who knows? The Series F, it could happen. But yeah, I mean, oh shoot, what was I going to say? I even read an article, was it yesterday or this morning, that Xbox is selling decently in Japan for the first time.
Oh, I read that too.
Ever.
Yeah.
Well, you also see that Microsoft has been a bit smart where they've been rolling out more, restocks at a bunch of stuff in this, around E3 than they had for a while because they were wanting to focus it on when they were going to get a lot of attention. Yeah. So it's helping them there too. It's all very much a combined effort to try and make everything fire on all cylinders, whereas just Sony is very much this generation's we're above it all. We don't have to care about any of you peons. We'll get everything, because we're so awesome.
Yeah, we know you want it. It's a PlayStation.
Sure, to a certain degree is true, but compare that to the start of the last generation where they were flip-flopped, and then look what happened there. So if you're gonna it keeps happening where all these companies don't pay attention to history, and then they screw themselves over, and then they have to fight back up again.
Yeah, it's true. All I can think of is the Simpsons episode. Of course, I've always got everything in life I can relate to a Simpsons episode because I've seen them all a dozen times. Is during the teacher strike, they were talking to the PTA, and it's the principal and the teachers, and the principal be like, "We have to raise taxes," and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, raise taxes," and then the principal's coming over there just shaking his mind, going, "Come on, oh yeah, the tax thing, that's the way Sony is." I mean, Microsoft's over here going, "We'll give you this, and we'll give you this value," and Microsoft's just over here going, "It's the PlayStation," and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot the PlayStation." It's like. But yeah, I mean, at this point, Sony's just trying to live off the success of the PlayStation 4, which I mean they're doing. I mean, obviously.
Well, that, and then maybe it is a bit of okay, they only have one or two big main games that are ready to show at this point, so they still didn't want to do another show this time, even though we're having an E3 again. So they can coast along a little bit because it's okay, we know that all the third-party games are on here, that's fine, and we know that hey, okay, Horizon's coming. We have Ratchet and Clank is just out right now, so we've got some big splashy things in front of people's faces, and they're fun. It's just kind of we like Hype Week with everybody. Come on, join in Hype Week.
Yeah, join in Hype Week. I mean, absolutely.
Hype Week is fun, even if a lot of it is just kind of oh wait, these games get delayed later or whatever. All the stuff happens. It's still fun.
Yeah, and do you need a physical actual show to go to? No, the virtual thing is fine. I am fine with the virtual thing. I mean, I understand pressers. People want to go get their hands on things and stuff like that, but it's not necessary. It's
apparently the Xbox thing was in where they have PAX, I believe. They just because they're not doing conventions, they were over hey, let's build a set in here.
Yeah, it's why not? But yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was it was really good, and I'm excited for what's coming out between now and the end of the year, and I'm surprised everything that's coming out.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo has a bunch of different things coming out for the rest of the year. Xbox has some things. Sony does too, even though they weren't here. It's just we're going to have a decent second half of 2021. Yep. 2022 is shaping up to be kind of insane for game
releases.
Yeah, that's
what I'm afraid it's going to be. I'm afraid
even
every
thinking
month it's going to be something.
Okay, at least maybe 4, 5, 6, who knows how many of the bigger games might get pushed back and delayed. We're still going to have a lot of stuff in 2022.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, we are. So, all right. Well, we're going to call that a show. That was 3 weeks of content in a row, which is good for us. Unless something big happens between now and next week, we probably won't have another show until the week after.
I was thinking about putting on my own conference.
Yeah, there you go.
Dennis conference.
Yeah,
it'll be like a TED Talk, except
Dennis no. You call it Dennis Digital.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that.
Yeah, see?
See,
I like
you got to
that.
get that alliteration,
Yeah.
and everybody it sticks in your
Yeah,
head.
D squared.
Yeah.
Yeah, D squared. There you go. You got
There you go.
that.
Alliteration
do
and
D3.
abbreviations.
Yeah.
Boom.
Wow.
I would do D3, but I already know that there'd be some sort of copyright issue with that game, D3 the game. Or whatever.
Well, and I
It's like
think
some weird
Disney has something too, don't they? Or is that is that D?
That's D3 the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Here
see?
comes the love.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah.
I don't want to
Disney's
get
all
into
over that.
on Disney's bad side. So
No,
I don't
you
want to
don't
go on
Yeah,
Disney's
here
bad
comes
side.
the
You don't want to
lawyers.
go up against Disney. That's too hard.
No,
so,
no. I mean, part of me does, but no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for hanging out with us and listening to us. Like I always say, follow us on Twitter at GL_podcast. I tweet out a couple hours before we go live with the show. So if you at least want to know, when the next show will be up, if you want to come join us live and hang out in the chat, you can. If not, no big deal. You catch it on the podcatcher of your choice, which I'm probably switching because Apple Podcast updated and I don't like it. So, so it's time for me to find another podcatcher. I don't care for the podcast store now.
There's plenty of them out there.
I can't find anything. So yeah, so I'll have to find something new. If you have any recommendations, let me know. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks again for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.
Okay.
See you later.